everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time I'm doing a full set of stiletto nails, and this is the one that a lot of people were asking me for on my Instagram because we're going to be doing a marble look, and it's going to be a little bit different than what I've done before. But it's really simple and easy to do. So I've already prepped the nails, applied the nail tips. As you can see, I'm trimming the sides down right now, and for that I'm using a straight edge nail clipper, and that's just to save us time whenever we start filing. So for the filing part, I'm using a 100 nail file, and we're just shaping up the sides to make the nail into a stiletto nail. So as you guys know, we're filing each side at a 45-degree angle until you get the sharpness that your client wants. Some people might not want their nails as pointed. They might want it a little bit more rounded. So just ask them, to see how sharp they want to go. But if they want them really sharp like her, then of course just keep filing at a 45-degree angle on each side. Remember to file even amount of times on each side to make sure that the nail is not crooked. And then that's always just filing the middle of the nail to make sure that it's nice and blended, so when you apply the acrylic it looks really natural. Alrighty, so once we're done shaping the nails, we're going to go ahead and dust them off, and then we're going to start with the acrylic application. As you guys know, I use the Mia Secret acrylic system, so I am going to be filling up my small container with my bigger bottle. As you can see, I still had it. I think that was my last little bit of it, but I bought that bottle back in August and I still had some now. But I have bought a new bottle. So now I'm just going in with my primer. As you guys know, I use my OPI Bondex, which works really good for me, but I use it because I have a lot of it from when I used to use OPI. But I'm just applying that on the natural nail, making sure that you don't get it on the skin. And after that, we're just going to go in with our number 9 nail brush by Alpha Brush, and it is an oval shape. As always, we apply the first bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets. We brush it down towards the tip. We come back and apply another one right below that one, brushing it again down towards the tip. Remember that when you're doing this, you want to make sure that if any of the acrylic gets on the skin, you want to make sure you take it off as soon as you see it, because if not, if that acrylic is on the skin, it will cause lifting. But after that, we're going to go ahead and apply the third bead. So as you can see, this time I applied it closer to the tip only because my tip was still a little bit thin. So as you can see, every time that I'm flipping her finger up, that's me looking at the nail from the side to see if I need to add some more. So remember, you don't necessarily have to stick to the 4-ball method or whatever method you're doing, because if you still need to apply more acrylic, then you're gonna have to go back and do that, because if not, your nail tip or just the nail in general will be either too flat or too thin. So just apply the product where you need it. Alrighty, so same thing for the other nail. Again, we apply the first bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets. We pat it down and then we brush that down towards the tip. After that, we come back with another bead closer to the tip, brushing that one down towards the tip as well. And remember, when you're doing this, you want to be really gentle, not to brush the acrylic down so hard, because you will be removing that product off the nail, and then it's kind of just a waste of product. So make sure that you're really gentle when you're doing this. Whenever you're brushing the acrylic, it's literally like you're feathering it really gently, just to spread the acrylic all over the nail. And then again, it's really important that you look at the nail from different angles. That way, you know, the tip is not too flat or the back of the nail is too flat, to make sure that you have a nice stress area as well as a nice thick nail or tip. That way it doesn't break off really easily. And then also, whenever you apply this bead closer to the cuticle area, make sure you don't place it right on the cuticle, but right below it. And then whenever you pat the acrylic down, that's when you push it closer to the cuticle area. And then you come back with the very tip of your brush and wipe around that cuticle area. And then again, keep making sure that you look at the nail from the sides. I promise, every time, as you can see, I keep lifting the nail up like this a lot, and that's me looking at it from the side. And then that's how I determine if I need to add some more, because I can tell that my tip is too thin, or I can tell that I don't have a nice stress area. So I go back and add some more. But remember, the steps are always going to be the same. You add your acrylic, and then you look at it from the side to see if you need to apply some more. Clean around the cuticle area, pat the acrylic down. Same thing over and over again, but it's just a matter of practicing, and in no time you will be there. But it's not something that's going to come to you overnight, and I think I say that a lot, but I mean, it's definitely true. It's not something that you're going to just wake up and be able to do. It just takes a lot of practice and finding what works for you, because something that I might do might not work for you. You know, whether it's a brush, whether it's the acrylic, whether it's the polish, you know, some of these things might not work for you. So you kind of just have to experiment and see what's better for you, what makes it easier for you. And the only way you can do that is by just trying out different things. Alrighty, so I'm done with this hand, so we're gonna go ahead and move over to the next one. But again, the process is still the same. Place our bead right in the middle, brushing it down towards the tip, and then as you can see, I'm also brushing like the side of the nail, and that's just because sometimes the acrylic will run to the sides, and you just want to basically pat it up. That way it doesn't like take away from the shape a lot, because then if not, we will have to do a lot more filing once we finish the acrylic application. So again, place your bead, pat it down, and then brush it like really gently down towards the tip, and then just add the other beads as you go. And then of course, if you need to add some more, then that's totally fine. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in with my 100 nail file, and we're going to be reshaping the nail. Again, as you guys know, once you apply the acrylic, it will take away from your shape a little bit, whether it's having rough edges or your tip is not as rounded as you want it or as pointed as you want it. Then you have to go back and reshape. And this is a step that you do not want to skip, because if not, it's going to take away from your shape and it's not going to be that perfect shape that you want. And honestly, I feel like whenever you have a perfect shape, it doesn't even matter, you know, if something else is a little bit wrong or it's a little bit off. Like, having a nice shape does a lot for the nail. So make sure that, again, you go back and reshape the nail. And then after this, we're going to go into file. Alrighty, so as always, to file the nails, I'm using my fine drill bit, and as always, just start on the right side, working your way over to the left side, just going back and forth until you're able to see where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. And as you can see right there on the pinky, you were able to see that natural nail. So I don't mean there has to be like a super big gap, but just like big enough to where, like, literally just until you're able to see that natural nail. That way you know that the acrylic is not on the skin. And then also that comes with making sure that you clean around that cuticle area really good when you apply the acrylic, because if not, this part will be a little bit harder to do. And then also, if you are a beginner and you still haven't been able to apply your acrylic like pretty smoothly, you are going to have to do more filing. And then I know yesterday I got a question on my Instagram. She was asking like, what can she do to get her acrylic smoother? And the only thing you can do is just file some more, and you're gonna have to look at the nail from different angles, because even if you can't see the bumps or lumps from the top of the nail, that's why I say look at it from different angles, because just turning that nail over to the side, you're gonna be able to see every little bump and lump and scratch. So make sure that you look at the nail from different angles, and even if you have to go in there with a hand file and get those bumps out, you're gonna have to do that. There's no other way to get those bumps out other than to keep filing, and then also making sure that you buff the nails really good. But the most important thing as well is making sure that you file around that cuticle area really good. You don't want any lifting, so by you skipping this step or not filing around that cuticle area really good, you will get lifting. So you want to make sure that you seal that cuticle area really good. And what I mean is basically not having any gaps in between the natural nail and the acrylic, because any little water, oil, lotion that gets under there will cause that nail to lift. Alrighty, so now I'm going in with a buffer. As you guys know, this is to get rid of any of the scratches left from our e-file or our hand file. So you want to make sure that you buff really good to make sure that the nail is nice and smooth, because if you don't, any little scratch that's on that nail will show through your polish. So again, make sure that you buff really good. And then as you can see, I always run my thumb over the top of the nail to make sure that it's nice and smooth. If not, I go back and file some more. But you have to make sure that you check each nail, because if not, if you go ahead and apply the polish and then you're able to see all the scratches to your nail, it's going to take longer for you to remove the polish and then buff them again and apply the polish again. So go ahead and check them then, instead of having to come back and work double. So after this, we're just going to go ahead and dust the nails off, wipe them off with an alcohol wipe, and then we're going to go ahead and start the polish application. Alrighty, so the color that I'll be using today is in the color Spice Berry by D&D, and it is a gel polish. And we're going to go ahead and do that on all of the nails. And then I'm also going to be doing just the tip on 2 nails, one on each hand. And to clean up that small line, I'm going to be using my number 6 French brush by Alpha Brush. As you guys know, I do have a promo code for them, so I'll be sure to leave that down in the description. So again, this is in the color Spice Berry by D&D. As you guys know, they come in a dual pack, which is the regular polish and the gel polish, and I believe I only paid like $6.50 for the pack. So that's really good. The colors go on really good. They have a nice coverage, so I do highly recommend that, especially if you are a beginner. So again, I'm using my number 6 French brush to clean up around that cuticle area. I just dip it into the nail polish remover and I just clean up around that cuticle and around this small line, as you see here. Whenever you're cleaning up the small line, literally just do one big swipe from the left side to the right side to get that perfect small line that you want, and make sure that your brush is not just soaking wet, because if not, it is going to mess up your polish. So whenever you dip your brush into the nail polish remover, wipe it off on the paper towel just a little bit before you do that. And after that, we're going to go ahead and do the second coat of that same gel polish. And as you can see, I'm only doing one coat on the fingers that will have the marble. So the second coat will only go on the pinky, the middle finger, and the thumb. Alrighty, so for the marble nails, I'm going to be using different colors, but they are all gel polishes. So as you can see, I'm just doing dots with that polish, and as you can see, it's pretty thick, and you do want it to be pretty thick when you're doing this, because you're going to swirl the polish around. So I'm using a teal color, that same spice berries, a yellow, a burnt orange, and a white. And after that, I'm going to go in with it's a dotting tool, and I'm just rolling that polish around, just mixing all of them together, and that's pretty much it. So I told you guys that it was really simple, but it was still really pretty. I know some people thought that it was the water marble, others thought that it was a decal, but it's just gel polish. And since we did apply the polish pretty thick, as you can see, it was kind of running off the nail, but I just kind of cleaned it up with my finger. So same thing again, we just apply the polish, we just do different dots around the nail, and then we come in with the tool, with the little dotting tool, and just roll that polish around. You can go in circles, you can go from one side to the other, but you're just mixing that polish in with each other, and we get that nice marble look that we want. Alrighty, so I cleaned up the sides and the cuticle area. Again, it is going to be a little bit runny, so you have to go back and clean up the sides. That way it doesn't take away from your shape. But we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on this other hand, except for you are going to see me change my mind. I was going to go ahead and do the ring finger and the index finger, but I decided to do this pinky instead after I had already applied the coat, the second coat. But I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm just applying the dots all over the nail, even though I had already did a second coat of it. As you can see, I'm just doing it over it, and then it's still going to be the same effect. It's not going to be an issue at all. It's still going to look exactly the same. With the dotting tool, we just go in and just roll that polish around. Same thing. And then for the other finger, I'm not going to do a second coat. Again, this is just because I decided to change my mind. But on the other finger with the marble nail, I'm only going to do that one coat that we already did. And then I'm going to come back and just apply the polish. But I am going to do a second coat of that spice berry on the rest of the fingers. Alrighty, so to do the marble on this one, again, we still just had that one layer of the color that we did at first, which is the spice berry. I do the dots, I just spread them all over the nail. As you can see, I don't put the same two colors right next to each other. I kind of spread them around, and then with the dotting tool, I just come back. And I'm doing kind of like a zigzag, and then after that, I kind of just come back through and just swirl them all around. Doesn't have to be a certain way. You literally just go in there with the dotting tool and just do whatever. And after that, we just come back and clean around that smile line as well as the sides to make sure that it's not running off the nail, because as you can see, it was. And then I just went back to add a little bit more yellow to this one. So we're going to go ahead and cure these for 30 seconds, and then we're going to go back to that first hand. As you can see, the only reason why I'm buffing this side is because she touched her finger, and I guess it got stuck, and then it was a little bit rough right there on the side, so I had to go back and file that off. Again, that's only because she touched the finger or the nail on her finger, so I had to fix it. So after that, I'm just going to be applying some bling on the nails with the marble. As you can see, I applied a bigger piece, and then I'm going to go back and outline that big piece with the gold caviar. As always, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system. I'm using my wax pencil, my SS6, and my SS12 AFB rhinestones. Alrighty, so I'm done with this one. So I sprayed the activator on it to help the glue dry. So after that, we're going to go ahead and apply the bling on the index finger as well. But for this one, I'm only going to do it around that cuticle area because I don't want it to take away from our marble. And then I'm also going to come back and apply some caviar on it. And then for the top coat, I'm going to be using two different ones. I'm going to use a matte one and then the regular top coat that I always use, which is the IBD gel top coat. And for the matte top coat, I'm going to be using my Elite 99 matte top coat, and I'm going to only apply that on the burgundy nails, and we're going to cure that for 60 seconds. Alrighty, so we're going to place that under the light for 60 seconds, and we're going to do the same thing on this hand. So again, we're doing the bigger piece right in the center of this one, outlining that with the gold caviar, and then doing some SS6 and SS12 on the sides. And then on the pinky, we're just going to do the rhinestones around the cuticle area. Once we're done with that, we're going to spray the activator spray, which helps that glue dry a lot faster. And then after that, we're just going to apply the matte top coat and the IBD gel top coat. Alrighty, y'all, so here is the final look. I know you guys love this look. That marble is just flawless, and that burgundy is so pretty as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at GetNailed32, and I'll see you guys next time.